This week on the Uninteresting Car Show,
we talk about cannibalizing a Ford Focus electric car.
Some game we found online that's free. No, it's not an ad, but you should honestly check it out.
Future projects.
And we shit on Nissan for a disproportionate amount of time.
Enjoy.
Jag åkte ner till Stockholm och då fick jag se glänsande Porschar och BMW. Men jag har en kärra som är bättre, den då det är en Volvo 142.
Alright, David, what have you been doing in quarantine?
Not much. Been working on my project for senior design.
Nice.
But, I was playing that game, that little drifting game on the
Hashiraya drifter thing.
However you pronounce that.
It's amazing.
That drifting game. One of the cars you can purchase, like with real money, it's $20.
Oh my god.
Which I'm like, what? It's a Veilside RX-7.
Why?
I know. Like, why is that one the most? And also, who would ever purchase it? Although I did go online and I saw that some people were playing with it.
Yes, I've seen people.
Maybe it was like jailbroken. I don't really know how they got it. If they paid $20 for it, Jesus Christ.
Good on them.
Stop.
It is a really good game, though. I don't know if it's called like Hashiraya Drift, which is like HASHIRIYA, something like that. It's on the App Store and the Google Play Store, but it's really cool because
it's fun. It's free.
Yeah, it's free. It's honestly a really good, like, it's one of the only mobile games I like. It's fun. It's really easy. It's like a drifting car game. They've got a lot of JDM stuff. It's only JDM stuff.
It's only Japanese
There's
cars.
nothing that is anything like slightly not.
They do engine swaps in that game.
Yes.
And I'm like, you have all these engines and it's like drifting, and it's like the most famous engine swap for drifting is an LS, and there's no LS.
Yes. No, yeah,
because it would fucking squash the competition.
But I was going to say, you're right, all the engines are also Japanese.
All of them are Japanese.
Because it's like they just pull them from the cars, because I think I made an 8.6 with like the 400 horsepower VQ, but the one from the R35 GTR that's like twin turbo, and then I cranked it up to like 560 horsepower, which is I think the maximum you can do in that game, but I know some drift cars may have even more and stuff like that, but it's a really fun game. The good thing is, and I showed David this too, is there's some accounts that have gotten bigger now, is because no one can go out because a lot of the US is under lockdown basically, as they're hosting car meets in the game.
Yeah.
Because it's a mobile game that's free, and it has an online portion to it. People are basically just going into these maps with like, where it's like a parking lot, and then you can just join it with a room code. They'll put it on like Instagram or something. You can join it at X time. It's honestly really cool.
Yeah.
Because there was some guy that I followed who had it, and I was like, okay, I'll join this. And then I took screenshots, and then I like sent it to him, and he posted them, and he like tagged me. I was like, hell yeah, like, just like really cool random stuff like that. And then I made show cars in it too. But
I think that game, the only thing it needs is more cars.
Yeah.
More cars, a few more maybe engine options, but
yeah. It's honestly really good.
It's really good for what it is. I was kind of surprised because maybe the UI doesn't quite have that polish, and so I always expect kind of like a shitty experience. But the driving's honestly really fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say realistic, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's easy. It's like an easy game to pick up, learn, kind of get into it and play. And it's like, it's very like, it's a good mobile game, but I think it's a fairly new game, which you can kind of tell, but even so, it's like, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But anyway, where I was going with this, I saw that Veilside RX-7, and I was like, I've seen Veilside RX-7s multiple times. It's like a famous kit, right? But I'm like, I've never really heard of Veilside outside of that. And so I googled Veilside. What do they make? Of course, they make a bunch of body kits. They started out making other stuff, I think, like engine performance shit.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, they basically, like, their biggest division is probably making, like, body kits for various vehicles. And I looked at them. Some of them look pretty cool, but I think the most standout one is probably the RX-7 still. But, I don't know, it was just interesting because I've heard that name several times, but I never really learned about it. But I think I also saw they had merch on their store.
Really?
And, yeah. And it's funny because it's their like line of like body kits is called Fortune. Mm-hmm. So, but they have this like windbreaker. It says Veilside on it, and there's like a Japan in the background, and it said Fortune favors the brave. And I'm like, that's kind of fucking
really cool.
Sick. It was really neat. I was like, this is some cool merch, and it's very like niche or pretty niche like car culture merch, and it's from the company. But the thing is, it's in yen. The thing, I don't know how you would order it here.
If they do international shipping, but that'd
be really cool.
Also, right now, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how long it'd take.
I don't know, just such a fun thing. I saw that and I was like, oh, that'd be fun. I'd like some Veilside merch.
That's really cool.
That's fun.
Well, you know the one from the games from Tokyo Drift, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
I was like, make sure you made that connection.
Yeah.
Like, most of the ones in that game are, like, Tokyo Drift skins that are...
Yeah.
You have to pay money for it. And I've seen some of them, and I'm like, free game, why'd you spend $20 or whatever the hell it is on that? I mean, they're probably doing really well now, especially with the virus going around. Like, people are doing that kind of stuff. I've seen a lot of those other accounts, like, crop up recently. I was like, hey, it's cool. Mm-hmm. And, like, honestly, they have a surprising amount of servers and stuff like that, but I digress. No, that's what cool. That's... What?
There's one map that you have to pay for with like the in-game credits.
Yeah.
In that game, and it's kind of a little more pricey, but it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
But it's definitely achievable. But I always race on that one because it's like, one, it's a nicer track, and I feel like I'm part of the bourgeoisie because I'm, on the only paid.
Yeah, the paid, the quote thing. That one's great. Yeah, I think I unlocked that one too, and I was like, oh, it's actually like worth unlocking that map, whatever it is.
That's probably.
I was just thinking like we can make a game video with that. Us just screen record our phones and playing.
That'd be fun.
That'd actually work. That'd be something to do. Because we're just trying to come up with other content to do while we're sort of preoccupied with being indoors.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd be talking about a mobile game for so long.
I didn't either.
I genuinely don't like mobile games that much.
I don't either. I hate them.
But they're filled with ads. This one is too. The full screen ads kind of suck, but it's a good game. And you can pay like $3 to remove them. So
I think whatever. So. I think I did that because Google gave me a credit or something, and I was like, well, it's not enough to buy anything.
I might end up doing that too. I'm not sure.
It's cool, yeah, and it's definitely a game worth getting. Again, we've talked this long about it, probably because it's a decent game.
It's fun.
It's not as good as Test Drive Unlimited 2, which I've been talking about for... Actually, no, sorry. It's not as good as... Okay, Dave and I were talking earlier and, like, going through, like, racing games and stuff we'd played. Mm-hmm. But we might do a video on it. We might do something like that. But the game Test Drive Unlimited, that's, like... It's a long series of games. It turned into, like, The Crew and those series. I think you've seen those come out. Mm-hmm. But it's just, like, an open-world driving game. But we were talking about that. And then I remember that Need for Speed exists as a series, and I think my favorite one is still Need for Speed Carbon. That's just a like slight thing, but I think that's still like the best game ever, even though there's no online component and stuff like that, but whatever. Which kind of brings me into like what I've been doing in quarantine, which is just playing a lot of automation, which y'all saw a video before, and I was gonna say, I know I made fun of you for like practicing or whatever last time, but like I've done the same kind of thing, and I've made like We mentioned on one of these records that we were going to do kind of like a, like a modern Crown Vic or like a modern take on the body on frame, like just kind of utility car for everything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I ended up making one like last night, and then I took it and I was like, let me refine it. And then I made like a police version of it and stuff like that. And I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do now. So we'll record that soon.
That'd be fun. I think that's a cool episode too. I want to put on more limitations on that one for cost. And like
reliability.
Service. Yeah, reliability.
Yeah.
There you go. I think I just don't know what figures to put yet because I haven't played that game enough, and so I don't know what's reasonable. We can create like maybe like a test one with like a pretty standard engine and kind of standard components, and then set that maybe plus a little more for like the reliability and for the cost. I'm not sure, but
we can see there's parameters in that game. It's a very, very involved game.
Yeah, I think the limitations for that one should be like the ladder frame. Front engine rear wheel drive, maybe not even, but probably front engine rear wheel drive.
Yeah.
And then like a 4-door 4-seat.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which would be pretty easy to do. Yeah. So we'll work on that.
Yeah,
definitely
that'd be fun.
I was gonna say another thing I did in quarantine. I ran into a door yesterday at full speed. That's what I've been doing in quarantine.
It's just your human body, right?
Yeah, it's my human body, not like in a car or anything.
Okay.
Well, because I have a huge bruise like on my knee.
Whoa.
Okay, so here's
the coloration's not that crazy, but the size is
hurts.
Large.
So here's what I did. This is unrelated to cars completely. I just thought I was like, it's something relatable. I was at someone else's house. We both went on quarantine, so I went over there to like do homework or something like that. And then anyway, while we were there, we were trying to basically demonstrate for this dude who had never seen the movie Risky Business, where it's like the scene where he slides into the door and is like just like in the. So what happened was like. There's an office next to the front door, kind of perpendicular, and I was like, oh yeah, it's like this, let me show you, and I ran out of the room, and then I ran back, and the thing is I was wearing like boots, and they have rubber soles, and it was a hardwood floor, so instead of sliding, they just stuck, and I just went full force into the door, and I hit my shoulder, my arm, my ribs, my knee really hard, and then I bounced back. It was horrible, but that's what I've been doing in quarantine.
Excellent.
Because my brain is just mush.
That's
fine.
You gotta stay busy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's how we stay busy. Whatever. America's gonna change after this, but we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. I hope it makes more people work at home. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. It's just like it moves like a lot of the work because the companies are like, well, it seems to work out. So
yeah, if they're making it work, they're making it work. And the other thing is like, I can get around some of the places that have the carry-out stuff.
Uh-huh.
Not like just takeout, but it's like, yeah, here, we'll just bring it to your car door.
Yeah. Kind of convenient.
It's like kind of convenient, but it's also like, why don't you just go inside? Like, it really doesn't change that much.
A few seconds, yeah.
But some of those places, I'm like, yeah, we could keep that.
Something I was looking at was like electric car conversions and how that would go about. And I'm like, you could take the drivetrain out of a Tesla, right? That's like a good drivetrain. You could also take the drivetrain out of many other cars, and some might be cheaper than others. You can also take probably what the best thing to do if you want a lot of customizability and want to be able to like quote unquote possibly tune your engine the most is to get motors that are made to be put in DIY electric cars. But those are often also really expensive. But I was like, what's something non-Tesla drivetrain where you don't have to basically like take their ECU and use their ECU that you could possibly use and mess around with and convert to like an electric car? And I was looking a Leaf drivetrain perhaps, but it's like 100 horsepower. But it's electric horsepower, so it's like because of the torque and how the band is very smooth and stuff. If I've told it. It feels like more horsepower than what it is. But also, something I found, the electric Focus makes like 140 horsepower.
Really?
And I'm like, 140, it's not a lot, right?
Yeah.
But if you put that in like a Miata or another light car.
Or like the
that,
Beetle or
a Beetle,
something, like an old Golf or
something like that.
An old car,
That would be really cool. Because it would have plenty of power, 140 is plenty. It'd have more than enough torque. It'd be really fun.
Yeah.
And you could get it from... like whole electric Focuses, I've seen them go for like $7,000 or something. Not ridiculous. I mean, a lot. You probably wouldn't want to buy a whole one. And probably buy like a wrecked one or something.
If you got like a rolled one at a Copart or something like that for
I think that'd be really crazy. And you just take that whole drivetrain, and it looks. I've tried looking up like the motor unit. It looks like almost like a transmission that you'd put in a front-wheel drive car. And I'm thinking, of course, take some fabrication, take some engineering, but you could probably put that kind of where a differential would sit in a rear-wheel drive car or something like that, and then have those half shafts run to the wheels, and it might be really neat. I just haven't seen it happen before, but I feel like that'd be really cool.
Well, I was going to say, if it is like a transverse front engine type of setup, which it's in a Focus, like that's kind of, even the Leaf, it's that kind of thing. It's you could just do what they did for like the Fiero and the MR2, which is if they basically move to the back and then pin the steering so it can't move, and then that's, you just, if it's flat enough, you can put it in the back almost anything. You can put it in an MR2. Although
that would be cool.
That would be really cool, especially the old one because they don't weigh anything.
Yes.
And that kind of thing, or any of those older cars.
And Fiero MR2, put that engine in one of those like transverse like that. I think that might work really well. I don't know. I don't know the details, but I could see that being something really cool for someone to do. Perhaps me later on. It just sounds like a kind of project that I'd be really into.
And then if you can make it work longitudinally, like I put it through some kind of drivetrain that can handle it or whatever, if you give it gears and that kind of thing, then that could work too. Yeah.
There's plenty of like conversions out there where you keep the transmission.
Yeah.
And you keep all of that, and there's like a plate and you put the motor on. That's cool, and it's a really easy way to do it. But I don't think it's good simply because you don't need the gears.
No.
And so they're just, or you don't need a lot of them, maybe like 2 gears you need max in an electric car. You don't need them, and so they're just using up your power, basically, just running them. And it's not like an electric motor really weighs that much, and so you can put it in the back of a car, and it's not going to upset the weight distribution that much, especially since you're going to need to put the battery somewhere. And then with an electric car, you can really customize your weight distribution because you can put the batteries kind of wherever you want. You know,
you can put them in the front where the engine was. If you put, because you do that,
put them, I don't know, wherever you want them, and you can really get, I feel like, your weight distribution on point. I think at one point in my life, I think it'd be really cool to do an electric conversion on like an older car.
Just do it now.
Do it now?
Yeah.
I need to look up how much the Focus drivetrain is really like alluding to, because I saw that unit and I was like, that looks like you could put that in something.
Yeah.
That looks like,
it would fit.
It would fit. So I need to see how much that kind of stuff costs.
I was going to say, what would you put it in? Because if you wanted to do it just as a technical exercise, you could just get some cheap whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to make it like, I don't know, what would you put that?
I think want to put it in something light. A Miata, I think, would work
Miata pretty well.
I think an MR2 old generation, any of the generations, I think would work well. I think the old one would be cool just because it's like weirder.
Yeah.
And then
that kind of fits the style of that lunchbox square shape of the MR2.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just looks like it maybe could be electric. And then I think like Beetle, a Gia or something, or a Porsche. Though I think those are already popular for electric swaps. I don't know why, but
yeah, I think it's just because they don't weigh anything.
They're simple.
Like, you know, it's. I mean, the flat 4 on the back of those is like the simplest engine. Yeah, let's go with the simplest electric drivetrain, which is just sticking a motor into the end of the transmission, going there you go, and putting batteries all over it. Which is, I know people do that a lot. Which looks really funny because I've seen videos they open up like the hood on the back and it's just this like watermelon shaped thing just stuck into the back of the transaxle.
Electric motors are definitely, to look at, they're not very sexy.
They're not aesthetically pleasing at all.
That like combustion engines, like they got like valve covers that look cool. You can see like if it's double overhead cam, the humps and like, or it'll be like a V shape, and you know, like they'll have all the intake and exhaust. And they look complex and look really cool. Electric motors do not.
It's just like a silver cylinder.
A lot of them just look like a cylinder.
Yeah. And I was going to say, especially, it's like, you know, you look at the beat and that flat 4 is so wide.
Yeah.
It's just like, you just see the floor.
Yeah.
Just straight through it. There's nothing even there. Yeah, but definitely those are cool. And then, that's actually, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what other stuff you could put it in. I was going to say like an MG, because that's different.
Yeah, you could
even run it through somehow, like from the front, if you wanted to put it through a diff.
I don't know. The thing is, the Focus is meant to work with like, it's a front wheel drive setup.
Yeah.
And so it has like those half shafts used for like a kind of independent suspension sort of thing. So I don't know how it would work with cars that have a straight axle.
It's all one package. It's like a K-frame thing. Like all front wheel drive cars usually have, where they have like a separate frame that holds everything. That would have been a great thing to do to that like Volkswagen Fox I had. Because it would be so much more power than it ever made.
Yeah. And
it would actually probably be pretty cool. That would be like the full rally thing. And you could put a lot of batteries in it because it's a little wagon. And stuff like that. But I was going to say, okay, speaking of Volkswagen. So, bit of a story, I guess. When I was in high school, I wanted to like have like the old car or something. You know, I thought Beetles were kind of cool, you know, passively, whatever. And then my dad actually had one in the 70s for like 20 years or something like that. He had a 71 Super Beetle. So for those who know a ton about it, it's the flat window, you know, McPherson struts in the front, that kind of thing. And he went through like a series of like repainting it and like fixing it just throughout its life and stuff like that. But anyway, I was like, oh, that'd be really cool to get, you know, restore. It'd be a daily, you know, I live in a small town. It'd be great for like high school, put air conditioning in it because it's Texas, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, we actually went and got one from a friend of his, like really super cheap. We got it running like that night, you know, that kind of thing. I drove it around a bunch, and what happened was basically, long story short, I was going to start kind of going through restoring it. We bought all the parts for it, and then my mother came in and she's like, oh, by the way, whenever you graduate from high school, she's like, yeah, that's mine. So I'll just be taking that. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, you can have it then now, and I'll do something else. Because like I was like, I don't want to do all this work, you know, and like then getting nothing out of it. So now, and I told David about this like just recently, but basically, it's still sitting at my parents' house, and I've been hanging around there now because, you know, we're kind of, school's all online, doesn't really matter where you are and stuff like that, and there's some more free time. And we're coming up with this sort of plan. Like I said, we have all the parts, everything's there, we even have paint interior. It's all just sitting there. It's just never been put together. It basically just needs to be put together. But I think what we're going to end up doing, and we'll probably put this out on video and stuff on the YouTube portion of this, and we'll probably give you updates once we start getting into it. But the plan is at this point is to kind of, you know, film that so we can share it with everyone else. It'll keep us honest, especially me, to like hopefully finish the thing because it hasn't been done in forever. And then at the end of it, we got a pretty cool little Beetle, you know, new engine, stuff like that, and we'll have something to drive around. So it'll be just like a Beetle restoration thing. Fairly mundane, but hey, we've got all the parts. It's something to do, and I think it'd be pretty rewarding at the end of it. So we'll hopefully keep you updated with that. But that's in the works. We'll see how far we get with it, but hopefully that'll be coming to you soon.
Sorry, this is a photo of the Focus drivetrain. I just wanted to pull it up so you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And this is the whole unit, and you see like the shaft just come out, right? I'm like, that looks like you could put that in something.
It's really small too.
It's tiny. It
fits like within the wheel
probably
diameter.
A little bit bigger than a diff, you know what I mean?
I was going to say, you can almost put that in the back of a Beetle. I was half thinking that just then. I was like, would we do that to that thing? But I think that's too much fabrication. Especially,
that's a lot for us right now.
Because, yeah, that's a lot for us right now. Also, that car really doesn't if it had to come apart, because if we had to take the body off the pan to fix like some rust stuff, then sure, but it doesn't need that. So I was like, if it was that kind of thing, it could always be worth doing, you know? But thus far, I think it's probably fine.
Yeah.
I think we'll go with the 1600 dual port and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know, that'd be really cool. I don't know what you'd put that in for that kind of thing. I'm just trying to think of like random cars like that to put in. Put in an RX. Piss someone off.
Like an RX-8 or something.
Yeah, or something like that. That'd be great.
I actually, in the first gen RX-7, that would be pretty quick.
That would be actually, yeah, because it's probably more power than the thing made.
I bet, yeah.
Could you just put a speaker in the front?
Was
with like a audio coded thing? Oh, I'd love to do
like
that.
a really choppy, 12B buzzy sound.
I just fill the front end with speakers.
Just record like a swarm of bees, and then just play that. And they're like
same sound.
You know, they say these sound like bees, but man, they really sound like bees.
Oh, that'd be great though. I'd love to do that, especially if it's a petrol car. Like you just put something in the throttle pedal with a reduction thing where it'll play through it as though it's like a synth noise. So you can, like a MIDI, you can like sweep up and down so it sounds real. Oh, that'd be awesome. And then just put fake gears in it or something like that. Oh, that'd be awesome. Put like a fake DCT sound in there and just go all out. Or
you could even have like when it quote unquote shifts, have the electric motor just like stop pushing for a second, like take the power off and then put it back on just for a second to make it feel like a shift. That'd be hilarious.
It would be slower, pointless, and then people kind of go, it'd be all this work, right? It'd be all this work for someone to go, oh, that's cool. like you know what I mean? They go, oh, that's interesting. Wow.
The thing is, if you would try to like, I think that would piss people off so much. Having a fake engine sound, fake shifts on an electric car, I think people, it's blasphemous. I can't believe you did this.
The thing is, that's my favorite thing to do is to piss people off.
That's why it'd be so great.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Really, genuinely, I think that's the wrong direction. Just let the electric cars be electric, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that would be really funny.
Yeah, it'd be one of those things where it's like, especially for like the first swap, you might kind of make it just like a toy. Until if you want to make a daily out of it, you might want to do it one time first, and then really do it again. Or even if you just get it right on the first try, you got a nice car. But the things that also be a really cool commuter thing. Because think about it, you just plug it in at night. Oh, yeah. The car is, if you put it in something that weighs less, because I know that thing weighs a ton. That Focus is heavy.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
I mean, it only gets like 100 miles range, and it's a Focus.
I don't doubt it. Yeah,
and it's the hatchback, and it's weighty.
I'll look at it.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of that's the batteries, which you could kind of almost put any batteries with it. I'm pretty sure if you just get something different.
I'm pretty sure if you you guys just gotta make sure the voltage is correct, and it can provide enough amperage that battery pack.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do like Tesla battery packs, or they make their own Tesla battery packs.
I've seen that, yeah.
Because Tesla battery packs, right now they make their own batteries. But before they used to get laptop batteries because those are competitively priced, and so they can buy a lot of them, and they're pretty high quality batteries. And so it's like they look kind of like AA's, but they're bigger and they're lipo. And they basically just line up them in a row and then take strips of metal and spot weld like a bunch of them together, and it'd create this pan. And that's how Teslas do it. They have like this pan on the bottom of battery, and it keeps their weight distribution, like their weight balance, really low. But people do that themselves. You can buy laptop batteries and just like make it yourself for pretty cheap. Especially I've seen people do this. One guy, I think he did an electric conversion on a VW bus, and he made his own, but he would purchase off of eBay broken laptop batteries.
Really?
And usually, apparently what he said, and a lot of these broken laptop batteries, it's a few, because they have a bunch of these cells in them, maybe like 10 cells or whatever, but probably less, I don't even know, but so it'll be one of the units that's out.
Yeah.
But it makes the whole pack not work.
Really?
And so he he tests them, test all these batteries, and you buy a bunch of like broken ones, and then he would create his own array. I mean, a lot of work, right?
But it's
and you have to test them, and you're buying used parts. But talk about like a cheap electric conversion.
Yeah. And if you do it right, it's really not going to be like ghetto. Like if you know what you're doing, it's going to be nice. You just have to get
Tesla
to that point.
Uses it.
I don't say,
like it's if it's good enough for Tesla, it's good enough for me, right?
For me. So. I was just saying you could put that front clip in like a Honda CRX or something like that. Because it's that 80s little Honda. Yes, I know it's a Honda, but it looks cool. They're front wheel drive, and like the original ones made like, oh man, like 50 horsepower or something. It's really tiny if you get the originals, and they're tiny, and that'd be something you could almost like take to a drag strip. But that's also one of the things I really like on the thing of electric cars is, I know Teslas. Everyone knows Teslas. Even the slow ones are pretty quick. You know, they're akin to like a petrol car with like 350 horsepower or something like that. Like especially with the weight. So the cool thing is, it's like, you're in traffic, and say if you do it to a CRX or whatever, you're doing 45 or whatever, you have to like dive out to like get, like you have to switch lanes, whatever, to the stopped lane to like pick up speed real quick. It'll just go like that. Like, it'd be great because people are like, what is that? Like, what was that?
And it's
like,
just like,
yeah, it just wafts away into the like distance. That reminds me a lot of GM. Like, I'm sure you've seen they're like rebranding Hummer as like a an EV type thing, because they're trying to redo the image of that. And well, they're supposed to come out. It's not going to be its own brand anymore. This is kind of car news. This has been out for a while now. I know they talked about it during the Super Bowl. I don't think any official images have been released, but they're really trying to get into EV stuff. And then basically they're coming out with it's a truck that's electric, kind of like that Rivian truck or like the Cybertruck competitor, kind of that kind of thing. Competitor with those. It's going to be sold as a GMC, I think, Hummer. But basically, Hummer's like an electric sub-brand now. It may turn into a full brand. We'll see in time. Because eventually, theoretically, all cars are going to be electric that are not, depending, in however many years' time. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, it's going to be that kind of thing. But I was just thinking of like what Cadillac would do. Because do you remember when they had that ELR?
No.
Okay, do you remember the Chevy Volt?
Yeah.
That car's still out. Basically, Cadillac took that thing, made it into a coupe. It's the same underpinnings. They're really cool if you can find them. And nowadays, they're super cheap because no one bought them new because they were too expensive. But I think those are like really, really cool. Like if you wanted a cool kind of daily that has a nice interior, gets good gas mileage, because they all have range extenders. Like, you can fill them up with gas, and it, instead of, it charges the batteries, doesn't drive the engine. It's not like a Prius. It's different. But that whole thing, they're really, really cool. Yeah. And they were supposed to be like a sporty alternative to be eco. But they were just so expensive new. No one ever bought them.
Yeah, I bet. Wow, that's very interesting.
And actually, my mom went to a Cadillac dealership because she was like, when she went on that tangent of like, oh, I want a CTS, or like I want an ATS, like, because she's like about to retire or whatever. I was like, I get it. But we went there and I asked the guy, and I was like, how often does one of those come through? And he was like, honestly, there's not a lot, but he's like, there's more people who come in and ask about them and ask the dealers to find them one than you'd think. Because the thing is, I think it's one of those things where even though it's a Cadillac, it's only a handful of years old. They all have super low miles because no one drove them, no one bought them new, and they're hard to find. It's like, I think they're like 10 grand, like 10 to 15 grand for, which, Cadillac, they're cool. Kind of akin to like Genesis. They're actually, having been in some of the newer ones, they're actually like on a really good path. Like I really like what they're doing with some of that. They've really turned it around, but it's like, it's really impressive that you can get that kind of car from there. But I don't know what they'll do in the future. I don't know if they're going to do electric stuff. But I was just thinking now on that. Have you heard about Cadillac's Blackwing V8 that they developed?
I think you've told me about it.
Because I know I mentioned it one time because, again, we were at the dealership and I don't know what they're going to put it in. I don't know what their plans are exactly because they're redoing their lineup. So the ATS is now the like CT4, the CTS is a CT5, and then their big sedan is a CT6, which is kind of like, BMW 357 series, same kind of thing. And then the SUVs, who cares? Same kind of numbering scheme, whatever. Yeah. They're all the SUVs are just like Chevys that have redone, but Cadillacs all have their own chassis. I mean, some of them are based on Camaros, but I think that's a good chassis. It doesn't really matter. It's all GM stuff. However, this V8 is Cadillac only. Because usually, they just take an LS, put it in there with a supercharger, and it's like, it's a GM engine, but it's a Cadillac, but, they own Cadillac, so it's this, but it's bespoke to Cadillac. But it's one of those things where, here's what I'm hoping. I hope it doesn't turn out like the North Star V8.
Let's pray.
That thing sucked so badly, but whatever. We'll see how it goes. However, I think they're, like I said, to a point where they're past that, but it's a twin turbo. I think it's a 4.4. Makes an insane amount of power. I think it's like 500 or 600 horsepower, and it's really cool. And what I heard, what I read somewhere is that they said, oh, well, they're going to put that in the new Corvette, but the problem is it won't fit. So what I'm wondering is, like, do you remember I don't remember what the name was, but do you remember when they took the Corvette C6 came out, but the old C5, which was the last, like, flip-up headlight ones at, like, 2000s, they then took that and updated it a little bit, and then they turned it into that convertible Cadillac thing? Do you remember that?
And they put the North Star?
And then they put the North Star.
Okay.
But what I'm wondering is...
I forget what that was called, but I know
it had like its own, one-off name, something TS probably. But that thing, It sucked because it was Cadillac's V8, which made less power, was less reliable. Yeah, it was dual overhead cam. Who cares if an pushrod LS is going to be cheaper, faster, better, more reliable, all of that kind of stuff. But I wonder if they're going to do something like that in the future, because that could be really cool. I could see GM doing that if they wanted to make. It just depends with like internal competition.
XLR,
like that.
That's what it was.
XLR, that's what it was. Yeah,
it was. It looks kind of weird too, because you can tell like the proportions are of that of a
Corvette.
Oh
yeah, because it's low and
it's like the hood's like the exact right length, and like the compartment with the driver's in. Like, it has the same dimensions, but it's like with that really like crease heavy.
Yeah, that design language they had a few years ago. Even now, to a certain extent. But
it still kind of look like that.
I want to see that engine and other stuff because I think it's really, really cool. And as far as I know, it's only going in the CT6, which seems like...
It's like a whiz,
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking. It's GM. I don't know, like, big companies don't ever always make the best decisions all the time. Some are better than others, but I'm like, I highly doubt they developed this engine just for one car. So I don't know what they're going to do next.
That seemed... Yeah.
But then the other thing on that is, so like I said, the ATS, they used to have you'd have an ATS, which is like, your normal sedan, like 2-liter V6, whatever. And then you'd have an ATS, like V Sport, which had like a bigger engine, and it wasn't the fastest one, but it was like, bigger wheels, sporty lines, stuff like that, just kind of like a trim package. And then you had the ATS, like the V, which was the twin turbo V6, that kind of thing, and then the CTS is a turbo V8 or supercharged V8 and stuff like that. What I'm wondering is the new V models that I've seen coming out of the CT4 and CT5 are not really that fast. They have way less power than the old one. So what I'm wondering is, I don't know if it'll fit, but if they can shoehorn that V8 into those, that would be really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, BMW put a V8 in the 3 Series. So if they can fit that Blackwing thing into one of those little tiny, small executive sedan things, that's a recipe for a very insane car.
The Blackwing, that's a very cool name for
It's a great name.
Way better than North Star, I'll tell you that.
Oh my god, North Star. And I forgot the name behind North Star. It came from something, and it was literally just like the North Star. And it had some lineage back to one of those things where it's like Buick puts those stupid vents on the side of their cars. The kind of things that you can go buy at O'Reilly's that look really crap.
Like on the...
Yes, but they come from the factory because it was called like a Porta vent. It was That's probably wrong, but it was like a factory thing that they used to put on Buicks in like the 30s and 40s and 50s because that was part of their design language, but now it looks stupid.
Yeah.
I think that was the same thing with the North Star name. It's something that no one would remember anymore. Even the oldest people in society don't go, oh, I remember that. And also no one who's like, say, 65 to 70 going to buy a Buick is going to see the one that's based on the Chevy Cruze and go, oh, it's got porta vents or whatever they're called. That means it's a luxury item.
They had them back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day, that kind of thing. So I don't know. They'll get their stuff together, but that engine should not be wasted.
Do you know who recently of our friends purchased a new car?
Was it you?
No.
No.
They're in this house.
Her?
No.
Brand new?
I believe it's brand new, yes. It's brand new.
What sort of car is it?
Yeah, okay. Ethan did. Purchased a new car, right? Or his parents probably purchased a car.
Oh, that's cool. Is it a new Mustang?
I wish. Guess what he got?
Is it a truck?
No.
Is it American?
No.
Is it European?
No.
Is it Asian?
Yes.
Is it Japanese?
Yes.
Is it rear-wheel drive?
No.
Is this front-wheel drive? It's not all-wheel drive.
No.
It's front-wheel drive.
Yes.
Is it automatic, obviously?
Yes.
Is it a Camry?
No.
It's
a Nissan.
Oh. What is it? What is it? Oh no.
I like how we just hate Nissan on this.
I just don't. The only thing I like that they make is the 370 and the GTR, and those are old. Anyway.
Yeah. That's
my whole bit on Nissan. Please don't say it's an Altima.
It's not an Altima.
Thank Christ. Is it a Sentra?
It's a Kicks.
He has a Kicks?
He has a Kicks.
Oh no, it's Juke 2.0.
I know. That's exactly what I thought.
I dated a girl who had a Juke. That was the worst thing I've ever driven in my life. You get in it and the thing flops around like it's made of lettuce. You drive, you put your foot down, the CVT hums and it doesn't move. You sit in it, it's an SUV, and it barely has enough height room for me, and I'm 5'6".
It's like... Oh,
okay, before I dog on it too much, I think as far as little crossovers go, especially compared to the Juke, it actually looks okay.
I don't like Nissan's design.
I don't either.
I think all of their cars don't look great. Does it look ugly? No, but
that is not the weakest one though. Still, I still maintain that is not the weakest looking car in their lineup though.
What do you think's the weakest looking? Sentra?
Well, actually, no. The thing is, they just redesigned their whole. Any SUV they make, I think, is ugly. That one is the one that's okay looking. I think of the cross. I said SUVs crossovers. The sedans are all good. New Maxima looks okay. New Altima actually looks pretty good. I think it looks kind of racy. I think they're doing all this stuff way too late. They should have redesigned their cars years ago because they were just boring for so long.
Yeah.
The Sentra actually looks good, the new one, and I think they're doing like they used to do kind of a hot one back in the day. I don't know if they're still going to do that. Kind of like a Civic Si type of thing. I don't know if that's coming. I don't know if it's just going to be a CVT with like an R badge and like chrome wheels. Like I don't know what that means to Nissan anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, I like the Versa because it's cheap and it looks decent, and it here's the problem I have with Nissan cars, okay? The Versa's the only one in the lineup that I genuinely like, apart from the sports cars. Those are separate, I think, just as far as normal cars. It's like Nissan seems to have this thing where the design of the car is not backed up in any way by the way it handles or operates and stuff like that. It's like having a check you can't cash. They don't line up, and that's the problem I have with a lot of Nissan stuff. It's like, wow, the Altima looks decent. I think it's a good looking car, but the problem is you get into it, it's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, makes a dreary noise, has a CVT, the interiors are horribly cheap, and it's just not like what you'd expect. The thing is, the thing with that though is the Versa, especially the one coming out, I think it looks kind of good. It looks a little like it looks a little off, but it's the cheapest car you can buy in the U.S. I know they have the Micra up north in Canada, but we don't get that. I don't know if we're ever going to get that in this country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, gas is like $1 now, so not for a while, But literally it's like $1.25 in my hometown recently for 87. But anyway, that being said, I think the Versa, it's one of those things that's like, if you go into the dealership and you want a good, cheap car, it's great. The Mitsubishi Mirage, like we talked about it last week, it sucks.
Yeah.
Dynamically, it's not good.
If you want a bad, cheap car,
get a Mirage. It'll be real cheap.
Yeah.
But you do get...
What's on your priority? Cheap or...
Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing I have with the Versa is it's like you get it has a decent amount of like kit. It's super cheap. You can get a CVT, you can get a manual. I'm not saying they handle really well, but it's like you kind of get what it says on the box is what you get.
Yeah.
And it's real cut and dry. But the other ones, they don't match. And that's the problem I've always had with Nissan forever. They used to do some cool stuff. Like they used to have the Maxima 4DSE, the 4-door sports car, stuff like that. They used to do like hot Sentras, IRS, which they didn't have for the longest time in cheap cars. And then they just stopped doing all that. And now they have all this crap. I don't know. I think the kicks, though, I know I went off topic on that, but that's my whole problem with Nissan. The 370 is cool. They need to redesign it. It's too old. They've done a bunch of stuff with Infiniti. They need to bring it over.
Yeah.
And then the R35 Nissan are like, oh, it's fine that it's an older car. That's what we're doing. It makes no sense. The old Skyline, they came out with a new one every 5-7 years like any other car. Yeah. That's all bullshit to me. But the Kicks, I think, is okay looking. That one's, I think, one of the ones where it doesn't have that much of a problem.
It looks alright. I don't like how Nissan does their grills. I don't know.
I think it's not good
maybe I'm okay. Glad I'm not the only one. No. It's got this like weird chrome smile on it, and it doesn't even look like the mouth of the car to me. It looks like the schnoz.
Yes,
it looks like a nose. It's like a nose. It looks like a big nose.
That's the other thing. I know I've said on this a lot. Oh, that looks like something I designed on automation. That looks like something I designed on automation because none of the body lines match. It doesn't fit. It's like they just stuck a grill on there and they go, yep, that's good enough. We'll import that into Beam and drive it around and sell it and put it on sale for...
Okay, so the engine in this, I was looking...
It's a 1.6.
Yeah, it's a 1.6.
Which they have in the Versa. It's tiny.
125 horsepower.
That's better than I was expecting.
Not great, but okay. But I'm thinking like this is like a crossover. It might be heavy.
Yes.
And it might not be able to push that kind of weight around.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the weight, and it says it's 2,400 pounds to 2,500 pounds.
What?
And I was like, what the fuck? That's so light.
That's like as much as your Miata.
It's a little heavier, but almost.
Not by much.
What do they make it out of?
Tin foil.
Is it all styrofoam?
Tin foil. And that what did I say about the Ford 500 interior? The plastic you get inside of chocolate tins and cookie tins. Is that what it's made out of?
This is what's on Wikipedia. It's startling to me, that number. I almost want to check it somewhere. Yeah, it's so light, man.
We might go see what it says on the sticker. If we go up and ask him.
Yeah.
We go, hey, what's see a new car? We might do that after this, and
that'd be
we'll
fun,
tweet about it or something. But honestly, okay, you know what?
Like, I was talking some shit on it, and I was like, a 1.6 that's gonna be so slow.
Yeah.
Like, so the
economical,
CVT,
but that's it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But looking at that weight, I'm actually like, I'm walking back a little because that is impressive.
You know what? If they're able to make that car weigh that much less, what have they been doing for the past 10 years? They've saved the auto industry. They can make that fuel efficient. Wow. I don't know.
Why don't they make the 370 that light?
I don't know, because it's been in production for like 11 years.
Make it that light. That'd be monstrous. Like a 370.
It's a smaller car.
That light. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bigger engine, but that's what, 200 pounds.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not that much. No. You know, make the 370. Keep like the whole V6 thing, or maybe do a Turbo 4, but make it as light as this. You can clearly do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Man, I don't know how they're gonna...
That'd be killer. That'd be like a Miata killer, because it's so light. It'd be, the FRS. Like,
if they made a car like that, they could absolutely take over Toyota's sports cars.
Yeah.
Again, because like we said last week, Toyota doesn't make their own sports cars anymore. Mm-hmm. Other people do, which means, to me, they're not that into it.
Yeah.
If Toyota came out with a new MR2... I don't know what it'd be based on that someone else makes. No one makes a mid-engine car unless they did something with Lotus.
Yeah.
But that aside from that, it's like if Nissan can do all this stuff, why haven't they been doing it? And that's the other thing. Here's something I've been thinking of recently. A lot of car manufacturers, they don't make sports cars because a lot of car manufacturers I understand they're chasing the market. There's not a big market for them, so why waste the money?
I mean,
the thing is, I think that has gone a bit too far. The reason I say that, we mentioned this last week with Hyundai. Mm-hmm. Hyundai has been up and coming for the past 20, 30 years now.
Yeah.
My dad told me he went to like International Auto Show when he was younger, and they had this whole tagline for the Hyundai Excel or the Pony. It was this crap square little, very first car kind of car. And the guy was like, one day you'll own a Hyundai. I've had two. My mom's had one, and he had a Kia, which is close enough for this. Yes. But the point is, it's like, they had them, and they're mainstream cars now.
Yeah.
They have grown by leaps and bounds, and every time, and they go, we're going to do this new technical thing. Hey, this 3D dash. I know that's super random, but that kind of thing. Hey, we're going to be the last company to offer a manual rear-wheel drive executive coupe, or executive sedan.
Yeah.
Something sporty, something different. They're doing the things that are different now. And I know they've had issues like getting the Genesis brand like launched and stuff like that, but the thing is, I have seen more people who own them, like talk about them, enjoy them, and stuff like that than any other brand recently. Just in like, and I know like I could be putting my own impression on that. Like I'm just kind of like, yeah, I've noticed a lot more of that because I'm interested in it. But the thing is, it's like I've seen that throughout, and I understand some people just buy it because it looks nice or whatever, and there are those people, and I understand those people exist. But the thing is, more people nowadays, especially with the advent of everything having to have like a sport motif to it or paddle shifters and stuff like that. More people seem to care about that. And I think a lot of car manufacturers need to realize, like, okay, yeah, we don't need to redesign it because, it's making enough money still. I understand that. From a business perspective, I completely understand that. But why not do something great? Again, that's the other thing with that. You can design anything. Why not design something beautiful? And they come out with a chewed toy that a dog would have. I don't even know. It just looks like it's just a shape. It's just something.
The thing about the
sports
sports
weird analogy,
cars,
but whatever.
They don't make them because they don't sell as well, right? Yeah. And I understand that. But the thing is, I think that's a very good point. But I think something that they're missing out on with not making sports cars is in their ads. They don't have a real standout model that looks crazy to excite people.
Yeah, they don't have a halo car. Yeah.
Nothing excites people. I look at Nissan's lineup, and nothing excites me in it. The GTR is the closest that that we get, but that's not even that exciting anymore. It looks pretty bland.
It does.
As far as supercars go, and it's old.
It's old now. And the other thing is, it's gone up in price since it's been out.
Yeah.
So it's now no longer the quote-unquote attainable thing it used to be.
Exactly.
Because it used to, from what I remember, it used to cost, the new Corvette's, $60 now? Mm-hmm. But I want to say when the GTR came out, I understand there's inflation and stuff like that. It was like not that much more than that for what you got. And I think now it's like closer to $100,000 for a car that's old, looks the same, looks worse. I don't like the way they redesigned it. I don't think it looks as good. Like, they put the facelift in it. I don't think it's as good looking. It looks more like their other cars with the corporate grille and stuff like that. But it's just like, their Halo car sucks. It doesn't actually, but I mean, comparatively to, what did GM do? Oh, well, we released a brand new Corvette. Now I understand you might go, oh, GM's a much bigger company. Nissan and Renault are aligned, as well as like another company. They have the expertise. They have the French design, for God's sakes, to come in and like make something cool. The cars they're selling, because we don't get them in the U.S. because they don't sell them here. Just they might as well sell them in Mexico. Like I get it, and crash safety, whatever. But the Peugeots and the Renaults and stuff like that they get in Mexico, they're really good looking cars. They're different, and it's like the same kind of quality where it's like it's built well enough, and yeah, it's a cheaper car, but that's fine because it's like it's at least reliable. Yeah. And the French cars are not crap like they used to be in the 70s. It's a whole different world now. You have that there, and you share the chassis already across the brands. Why can't you share some design stuff? Yeah. Like Hyundai Kia hired people from Audi and BMW, and they redid their whole car. Like, look at the Stinger. Yeah. Look at a Kia Sophia from 10 years ago. Oh. Like, look how far they've come. Even the Forte is a good-looking small car.
Absolutely, yeah.
The cheap one, the Rio or whatever, that looks great now, too. It's just, like, little things like that. What are they doing?
It needs to be like I think every car manufacturer. I mean, this is because we like sports cars. We like cars,
obviously,
right? But
we have a slant on this, obviously,
clearly. But I think every manufacturer should have their like the icon of their line.
Yeah,
the thing that like when at the end of the ad, all their cars are like lined up in a sort of triangle formation. That car comes in last and it's in front, and you're like, holy shit, that's sweet. Yeah. That's like the leader of the pack, right?
Yeah.
They need those cars, I think. And I think they're missing out on people being excited for the brand because there's nothing for them to pull out in front.
Yeah. And that's I don't know. No, you're right. They don't have like a Halo. They do have a Halo car, but it's old, and the 370 is an old car.
I'm not even talking about just Nissan right now.
In general, yes.
In general, like a lot of companies are.
Because I was going to say the other thing is like Hyundai. They've got the Stinger, or Hyundai Kia have the Stinger, and then the new Genesis and stuff like that. Even though those aren't super flash, they're working on one now. We mentioned before, like they're working on some mid-engine affair, which means hey, we might get a supercar type thing from that. That's awesome. I bet it'll be really well priced too. Maybe I'll be talking about that instead of the Corvette in a few months' time.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
What if it competes price-wise and like quality-wise and power-wise with the Corvette?
It so can though.
That'd be wild. Hyundai boxing with
GM.
GM on a Corvette on a mid-engine.
Not even that. It's that weird segment where it's like could be almost a supercar. The only people who play in that kind of is almost a supercar. It's definitely more than a sports car, but is like almost a supercar. Is like Porsche and Corvette.
Yeah,
like with the normal 911.
Nissan with the GTR, perhaps.
Yeah, I'd say the GTR is in there too, but it's like Nissan. That car used to be better though, because I think that car used to be a lot more impressive.
I hardly put that in the same.
But Corvette, GM competes way better on price with that, but it's that kind of like almost, and then you have a variant that's like insane. Yeah. So I get that, like the GT2 RS, and then the ZL1.
Yeah.
That's a Camaro. Whatever, the ZR1 Corvette, that's what it is, and then whatever. Nissan just has one GTR, but it's like, I don't know, if Hyundai does that, that'd be cool. But what I was going to say is, like, even so, they still have all their, like, the Stinger is basically the Halo car of Kia, and then it used to be the Gen Coupe for Hyundai.
Yeah.
But now since they've changed stuff, they got to kind of redo that, which I get. It's going to take some time to develop that kind of thing. So I understand that. But what do you think of when you think of Ford? Mustang, Ford GT, Focus RS, Fiesta, ST. Not even the Fiesta, but just those three. They're all there. And I understand Ford's having issues with money, but you can go through like all these brands. Even Toyota, even though they're not their cars.
Yeah.
The GT86 and the Supra.
Yeah, the GT, yeah.
And you go, they make some Lexus. The LC is amazing. I understand that's kind of different because it's a premium brand. But Infiniti even has it, and Nissan doesn't, because their Z car, the Q60 it's called now, it's the same chassis. They just came out and redesigned it. It looks really cool. It's kind of different and weird at first, but you look at it and it's really, really cool. And it makes like 400 horsepower from a 3-liter super. That's a tiny engine to make that much power, and it's super turbo and stuff like that.
That's
but
sweet.
Nissan doesn't really have that, which sucks. And I think we're gonna end on that. Just leave it with that. Hopefully we'll see how they come out of this, because I know their CEO just escaped from Japan in a cello case or something like that. That's a great story. But I think we're gonna leave it with that. We've hit our time limit, as it were, but I think we're gonna leave it with that.
Has it already been that much?
Yeah, it's been that long.
Oh my gosh, we blasted through this one.
I know. We had other things to talk about, but we'll get to them later. What else are we doing? But anyway, thank you very much for listening. Like we said, check us out on YouTube. We got some more videos coming from automation and stuff. We'll hopefully get the quality better up on that. We'll make them shorter, don't worry. We'll have the full build videos, though, if you want to watch those. Those are pretty long. Those are like a podcast to watch, but hey, we'll have those coming out. We're going to hopefully do some stuff with that Volkswagen. Follow us on Instagram at uninterestingcars. And, we'll be posting more to that as we go along and, hopefully get some interaction with there. And, yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much for listening this week. We'll see you next week. I'm Jacob.
I'm David.
Catch you later.
Volvo, ja. Och min Volvo 142.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of the Uninteresting Car Podcast.
Is that...
I don't think we're going to do that. But hey, it's whatever. What do you want to talk about?
What do I want to... I have a few things on my list. Should we just get right into it?
We should just... Yeah, if you want to.